Questions today of his relationship with the embattled former advisor, Bruce Carson, a very close advisor to Harper. The Canadian press is now reporting that Carson was convicted of 5 counts of fraud. We knew that, but 3 more than were previously known earlier. But CP is also reporting that Carson received court-ordered psychiatric treatment before his time inside the PMO. Carson's lawyer says all of this information was actually disclosed during the security check to give him secret clearance. But let's look at how Conservative leader Stephen Harper responded to these revelations when he was asked about them earlier today. Check this out.
He had had a good reputation. He had even worked for Parliament itself, for the Library of Parliament. He was well regarded. On that basis, the Privy Council office gave him a security clearance. The fact is, I did not know about these revelations that we're finding out today. I don't know why I did not know. Obviously, we're going to have to go back, look at our systems, and Privy Council office is going to have to look at its systems to make sure these things get caught.
Just over 1 year ago that the Prime Minister had called a news conference where he made the entire country aware that he was aware of serious allegations against me. He went further to say that he was referring information to the RCMP and I would sit outside of caucus pending an investigation. As you all know, for over a year, I've been trying to get to the bottom of this whole sordid affair in order for my constituents to really know what happened to their democratically elected member of Parliament. You're also aware that Mr. Harper failed to disclose any detail of these allegations to me or the public, even after the constituents of Simcoe Grey demanded answers. In fact, on a number of occasions, I pleaded with Mr. Harper to tell me what he thought I had done wrong in order to be able to address these allegations head on and to be able to defend myself. Unfortunately, he refused. Even after making the access to information request under the Privacy Act, the government has gone out of its way to restrict access to this basic information. I've included a copy of the letter for review in your media package. Fortunately for the people of Simcoe Grey, the RCMP has used its discretionary powers to release the contents of the report to me, and I promised my constituents from the very beginning that I would share this information with them if it ever became available, because Mr. Harper would not. The details of this report are extremely disturbing. It has demonstrated that there was a concerted effort to perpetrate lies and smear my good name. If only Mr. Harper had taken the time to be open about the allegations that were presented to him and had given me a chance to confront them, much hardship could have been avoided. Instead, it has now been confirmed to me by many of you in the media that it was the Prime Minister's Office Communications Office that was on a destructive campaign perpetrating these false allegations that have damaged my reputation. This, of course, is the worst kind of politics, the kind that Canadians abhor. Not only was it made to seem that I was guilty of conduct that has never been disclosed to me, going against the very core of what our principles of justice are built on, the Prime Minister's office still made it seem as though I was guilty of something even after I had been proven innocent. What is the most disappointing thing about this whole situation is the question of why, even after the RCMP disclosed to Mr. Harper's office that there was no substance to these allegations, that they wouldn't want to make things right. So I ask you, did Mr. Harper's office do the right thing? Canadians believe the right thing is to respect due process. They believe the right thing is to respect democracy. They believe the right thing is to take responsibility when you've made a mistake and not try to cover things up. These values are Canadian values, and they constitute the right thing. I know this has been a very difficult process for the constituents in Simcoe Grey, as they have wanted to trust in their leader and they wanted to take the Prime Minister at his word. I don't have to tell you all about the nightmare that my family endured over the past year as a result of the treatment from those I served so loyally to for years. The damage is real. It is deep, and it is permanent. Imagine waking up every day for months, seeing headlines and stories that have no basis in reality, attacking your credibility and everything that you have worked so hard for, and having to face the public under this type of unfair scrutiny and pressure. It was no secret for the entire time that I was dealing with this mess that I was pregnant. Women tell me that pregnancy is a very happy time and one that should be enjoyed free of stress. I wish I could share that sentiment. But the real miracle is the fact that after all, I have been blessed with a happy and healthy son, Xavier, who I'm hoping that you can meet after this news conference. And after the birth of my son, my resolve to seek re-election as an independent conservative was strengthened. And while Mr. Harper has chosen to ignore my loyalty and my years of commitment to Simcoe Grey, I believe that my constituents know me and they trust me. The title of independent conservative was given to me by the House of Commons after I was undemocratically removed from caucus. What has happened is wrong, and judging by the significant anger directed towards the Prime Minister over the handling of this situation and the overwhelming support and encouragement that I've received from my community, I am standing up for myself, I am standing up for my constituents, and I am standing up for the democratic principles that we all cherish. I know the constituents of Simcoe Grey, as most Canadians, believe in fairness, they believe in honesty, and they believe in democracy. By re-electing me, it will send a very strong message that they will not tolerate such unacceptable behavior from our political leadership in Canada. I'd like to turn it over to Andy Baudouin, if I may.
Good morning. Thank you for coming today. The overwhelming emotion I'm experiencing today, and for some time now, is a profound sadness. I'm sad that Helena Guergis has been so mistreated by our own party. Guilty until proven innocent, and guilty after being proven innocent. I'm sad that something I say might actually harm the party I have devoted myself to for the past 7 years. I'm sad that the actions of our party leadership have been taken without any concern for the constituents and party faithful of Simcoe Grey. I'm sad that families and friends have been split and relationships seriously harmed by having to choose between two conservative candidates. Now that we have the RCMP report, we are aware of some truths, but there remain several serious unanswered questions. Last July 22nd, the RCMP issued a statement stating that their investigation was complete and that both Helena Guergis and her husband were cleared of any wrongdoing. For many of us, this was a moment of elation, that this cloud that hung over the Guergis family for months was now blown away. But before the news was allowed to settle, the PMO sent out Sarah McIntyre to state that the RCMP findings changed nothing. It's important to note that the PMO had been studying the report since July 2nd, almost 3 weeks, so they should have gotten things straight. Yet Ms. McIntyre gave 3 reasons, lies, for not inviting Helena Guergis back into the fold. The first one, she mentioned, her sizable mortgage. Well, it was actually a line of credit, and it had already been debunked by the media, who had bothered to talk to Scotiabank representatives about the process. Number 2, Mr. Jaffer's use of email and phones. The RCMP report tells us that in the year preceding Helena's removal from caucus, Rahim Jaffer visited his wife twice, both times to deliver her lunch. I also note that Mr. Hamilton, the party lawyer, displayed no interest in checking phone logs and email accounts to exonerate Ms. Guergis and Mr. Jaffer. Thirdly, the letter to Simcoe County introducing Jim Wright. McIntyre stated that Wright had a business relationship with Jaffer. Another deliberate lie. The RCMP investigation dealt with this matter thoroughly and dismissed it. There never was a business relationship. So why did the PMO come up with these pathetic lies after weeks of preparation? All I can say is that Ottawa staffers told me on the telephone that she'd have been back in caucus if she had only not done the Mansbridge interview. If this was true, it reveals something stunningly sick about our party leadership. The following are some of the questions that demand honest answers. Who was Derek Snowdy working for? Number 2, Arthur Hamilton says all the serious allegations of criminal misconduct made against Helena Guergis come from Snowdy. But Snowdy told the parliamentary committee that he made no criminal allegations against Guergis. These two have to get their act together and tell the truth. Third one, how reliable is a process which allows one man, Arthur Hamilton, to address the National Council, the caucus leadership, and the caucus with a recommendation to banish an MP, and no rebuttal or defense is permitted? In point of fact, the accused was never told what was being said about her. I could go on with these questions, but I know that you will come up with better ones, and I leave you the task of investigating this matter further. Ms. Guergis and I have an election to win. The bottom line for me is that Helena Guergis is not just a good MP, but an excellent one. She deserves to be returned to Parliament and accorded the respect she has earned. In closing, I would like to thank all of the wonderful people who come up to us on a daily basis with their expressions of support and encouragement. It's truly a gratifying experience. Thank you.
Ms. Guergis, a lot of people are questioning the timing of this. A lot of people are questioning the timing of this announcement here today. Considering you're from local polls, you're sitting third right now. Is this a Hail Mary?
Well, the local polls that I've seen actually have me in the lead, so I'm not sure which one you're looking at. Has me at a considerable lead, and then the next Conservative, and then the Liberal trailing behind.
So then why now?
Why now? Because I promised. I made a commitment from the very beginning, from asking to have this information. I asked for it to be tabled in the House of Commons. I asked for it to be released so that everybody could know exactly what it is we were dealing with, because I have nothing to hide, and I made the commitment to do that. And I'm fortunate that the RCMP were able to use their discretionary power at a time when I can be able to release it.
Do you expect this to hurt Mr. Harper?
This is not about hurting Mr. Harper. It's not. It's about standing up for justice. It's about standing up for what's right. Because I say to you that there isn't anyone in this room that this couldn't happen to. If it can happen to me as a member of Parliament, where somebody can make up some crazy allegations, take it to your boss, have your boss completely toss you aside without any evidence and not even tell you what is wrong, and then just walk away and leaving your life in destruction, it can happen to anyone.
Ms. Guergis,
What do you think Mr. Snowdy's motivation was?
I can't answer for Mr. Snowdy. I don't know.
Will you take legal action?
Pardon me?
Will you take legal action against him?
Obviously, I have given this to my lawyers, but I'm not sure what my process will be. I'm focused right now on an election, on running on my record and the accomplishments for Simcoe Grey right now.
Stephen Harper has said that he doesn't want an individual, you, in caucus, and saying, perhaps you can hang around with shady people, and that the perception generally isn't very good on this. What do you say to that?
I'd say he's been proven wrong, and he needs to accept and respect the RCMP and the processes that we have in this country, including the justice system.
do you feel you're faultless in this case? Are you, considering the Conservative Party looks at you as sort of a political liability?
None of these allegations are true in any size, shape, or form.
Not even,
If you had been the Prime Minister, what would you have done with allegations like that?
I would have respected the justice system, and I would have taken my employee in, and I would have told them exactly what they had been accused of, and I would have given them the opportunity to defend themselves. And I certainly would not have sent my staff out to spin to the media that I have done all of these things.
how hard is it for you when you
Thank
see
you.
Derek Snowdy says that you have in your possession other documents that you have not yet released.
Yes.
That if you do release, may be unflattering to you.
Oh.
Do you have those documents, and when do you plan on releasing
let me say to you, there's nothing else that can be said about me any more unflattering than all of the stuff that's been in the media for the past year. I think everyone would agree.